Here is a sentence written by AI containing a watermark. Now let's retype it ourselves by hand into an empty text editor. Nothing gets copied or pasted. It turns out that the watermark is still in it. So whatever this watermark is, it's not a hidden character sitting inside the text, because if it were, we would have deleted it just by retyping. In the middle of August 2026, Anthropic announced that future Claude models will put a watermark in the text they write. What makes this worth a video is that they also said which method they use, so instead of guessing, we can just go and read the paper, which is what I did. It is a version of synthID text, a method from Google DeepMind. And before we get to it, it is worth saying what this watermark isn't. So it's not about invisible characters between the words or letters swapped for identical looking ones from another alphabet. A text watermark is not added to the text. It is a pattern in which words were chosen. The choice is still random, but the randomness now comes from a key. What I want to show you is how that pattern gets in, and then answer the questions you probably already have about editing, rewriting, and translating. So let's start with how AI writes at all. It works word by word, and before generating the next one, it scores every word in its vocabulary, and those scores turn into probabilities. The higher the probability, the more likely that word is to come out. Ask the same question 100 times, and about 28 of the answers come back with overcast, 25 with gray, and so on. And usually several words fit. As for watermarking, it starts before generating the next word, when the last few words that were already written get hashed together with a secret key. A hash is just a function that turns whatever we feed it into a number, and the same input always gives us the same number back. That number is a seed for randomly handing a small code, just zeros and ones, to every word in the vocabulary. Random, but repeatable. The same seed always deals every word the same code. And it is worth thinking of that code as a power score for a tournament we are about to run, where the more ones a word has, the stronger it is. Next, AI draws a handful of candidate words from its own probability list, the same list it would have sampled from anyway, and puts them into that tournament. They are paired up, and in each pair, the word holding a 1 beats the word holding a 0. If both hold the same value, a coin flip settles it. The winners are paired again and read the next digit of their code until one word is left. That word is the one we read. What is elegant about it is that every candidate came from the model's own probabilities, and every match was between two of them, so nothing was added to the list and nothing was removed from it. Average over all the possible keys, and the chance of any particular word coming out is the same as it was before any of this existed. Anthropic says internal testing found no impact on quality, and DeepMind saw the same across 20 million Gemini responses. And it costs nothing extra. No additional tokens, so no additional price. So, what does the tournament leave behind? A word that wins several rounds usually won them by holding a high number of ones in its code. So, if we walk back through finished watermarked text and look up the code of every winning word, we find more ones than zeros, and the average sits above a half. For the text that nobody watermarked, there was no tournament, so the code values are completely random, and the number of ones sits at about a half. So this average score is how we detect watermarked text. Given the text and the key, we go through it word by word, recompute each code, and take the average. And because the same words plus the same key always give the same codes, we get exactly the values that were in the tournament when the text was written. So, no AI model is needed here, only the text and the key. And the answer is not a yes or no. It is a score compared against a threshold. The further above a half it sits, the stronger the evidence. So, you might wonder when this stops working, because it does stop. The tournament only leaves a trace when there was a real choice between different words in the vocabulary. If a sentence runs toward one word, like the capital of France here, or a closing bracket in a code, then every candidate drawn is that same word. And it does not matter what code it has, all zeros, all ones, or anything in between. It still wins as the only word in the tournament, so the average watermark score here sits at about a half. Anthropic says it directly that watermark is thinner on factual passages where there are fewer choices available without making the text wrong. Short text fails for a different reason. There are simply not enough words to average over. Retyping by hand keeps the watermark because the words are unchanged and the words are the entire signal. Changing a few words lowers the score, and how far it drops depends on how much you changed. A full rewrite, where every word is replaced, removes it. A translation done by Claude carries the watermark because Claude is still choosing every single word. A translation done in some other tool most likely removes the watermark unless that tool adds its own version of it. And then there is what the watermark score cannot say. It cannot separate Claude wrote this from Claude heavily edited this. If you read something yourself and hand it over for a proofread, only the words Claude actually changed carry anything, and if it changed very little, the score stays at about a half. It also holds nothing about you. No account, no company, no chat it came from. The reason it exists is the European Union AI Act. Around 190 signatories signed the same code of practice, and Anthropic says a detection API is coming. So, back to the sentence from the beginning. A text watermark is not added to the text. It is a pattern in which words were chosen. That is why retyping does not remove it, why a full rewrite does, and why a paragraph of plain facts barely carries one. And one thing worth keeping in mind is who will possibly be running these checks: schools, journals, employers, among others, once that detection API ships. So, for everybody using this tool, it is worth remembering that this number only says the text was probably touched by Claude somewhere. It does not say who wrote it. And what I showed you is a synth ID text as it was published. And Anthropic says there is a version of it, so the details and the scores could differ. Until the detection API is out, none of us can check the real numbers. If you have any more questions about text watermarking, I would love to answer them, either in the comments or in a follow-up video. Thank you for watching.